Hi everyone, I'm live with my gift book read on day 5, and we're reading A New Earth, A Create a Better Life by Eckhart Tolle. And today we're going to be reading a very interesting chapter, but let's do a recap of what we read yesterday. And it was about definitions and letting go of definitions. And somewhere Eckhart Tolle talks about how we define life based on our caste, our religion, based on how we were brought up, our environment, our conditioning. And then I had given a small example of Maharishi Valmiki, who changed his entire definition of what he had learned his entire life and turned himself into Maharishi and wrote Ramayana. So it's possible to change the definition that we are born with. It's just possible to change if we choose it. And if there are people who show up like Narad Muni showed up in front of Valmiki, if there are people who show up in front of you to do that and make your life more easier, who is to make that call? So take that call. And today we are going to be reading the chapter that is on conscious parenting, and this is one of the most the dearest topic, the conscious parenting. I've done a lot of work on that, worked with many children, worked with many parents, and somewhere helping them see, recognize each other in a different way. And so I think I'll just begin with the chapter. Eckhart Tolle says, many children harbor hidden anger and resentment towards their parents, and often the cause is inauthenticity in the relationship. The child has a deep longing for the parent to be there as a human being, not as a role, no matter how how consciously that role is being played. You may be doing all the right things and the best you can for your child, but even doing the best you can is not enough. In fact, doing never is enough if you neglect being. The ego knows nothing of being, but believes you will eventually be saved by doing. This is nice. I think this is again, building up on the previous concept of, how we keep, doing things in our life, trying to avoid our being, and we feel that, it gives us some kind of a completion by connecting our ego with form, thoughts, emotions, and giving physical structure to everything. And doing for our children also is one way of not being and rather following the role of the parent. He will explain in further how actually we end up doing, so that we get more clarity. But let me read ahead. So the ego knows nothing of being, but believes you will eventually be saved by doing. If you are in the grip of the ego, you believe that by doing more and more, you will eventually accumulate enough doings to make yourself feel complete at some point in the future. You won't. You will only lose yourself in doing. The entire civilization is losing itself in doing that is not rooted in being, and thus become futile. How do you bring being into the life? Wow. Of a busy family into the relationship with your child? How do you bring being into the life of a busy family into the relationship with your child? The key is to give your child attention. There are two kinds of attention. One we might call form-based attention, and the other is formless attention. Form-based attention is always connected in some way with doing or evaluating. Have you done your homework? Eat your dinner, tidy up your room, brush your teeth. Do this, stop doing that, hurry up, get ready. What's the next thing we have to do? The question pretty much summarizes what family life is like in many homes. Form-based attention is of course necessary and has its place. But if that's all there is in the relationship with your child, then the most vital dimension is missing, and being becomes completely obscured by doing, by the care of the world. As the God puts it in most religion, formless attention is inseparable from the dimension of being. How does it work? As you look at, listen to, touch or help your child with this or that, you are alert, still completely present and not wanting anything other than that moment as it is. And in this way, you make room for being. In that moment, if you're present, you're not a father or a mother. You are the alertness, the stillness, the presence that is listening, looking, touching, even speaking. And you are the being behind the doing. Beautiful. I'm going to read this again because I think this is very important. What he's trying to say is that, we get lost in doing things, trying to change them, trying to teach them things, and we take up the role, and I think we all are conditioned in taking up some or the other role, and that is how societies function. But this is about being more. This is about being able to do more for your children. And when we are able to give this kind of a conscious presence to them, the kind of upbringing and the nurturing that occurs to the child, it's absolutely on a different level. And it basically allows, in the way I would like to put it, or the way I understand it, it is like it allows the child to grow as the seed that he or she is. If there is an apple seed or if there is a papaya seed, both will require different environment, different soil, different nurturance from the farmer. And instead of we trying to grow them, come on, grow up, they naturally grow. Now we are going towards organic vegetables and organic farming, and this is exactly what it means. We are organically allowing our child to grow, and that again becomes a kind of a contribution in their life where child is growing without any trauma and pain, rather with more strength and with more love. And one thing that most children in the present time requires, in the way I see it, in the way I deal with people, is that purest form of love, and that is enough for them to grow, and then the rest of the learning just takes place automatically. It just requires a right environment. And so I'm going to read the last para again. And as you look at, listen to, touch or help your child with this or that, you are alert, still, completely present, not wanting anything other than that moment as it is. In this way, you make room for being. In that moment, if you're present, you're not a father or a mother. You are the alertness, the stillness, the presence that is listening, looking, touching, and even speaking. You are the being behind the doing. So, I think this is something that you all, and many of the present parents who are raising their children, they're looking for this kind of a stuff. and somewhere I think they are also putting efforts, but what comes in between is the past conditioning, the way we were brought up. We always think that, you know, that things either come in between how we want to be and what we are. And you know, when we come across, you know, content like this, text like this, solutions like this, is where something begins to change for us. So it's a good way to keep in touch with, if this kind of a conversation or content feels lighter, then that is the kind of conversations and that is the kind of content that we're going to be reading in the Philosopher's Stone book club. And tomorrow I'm going to be reading further with another of my favorite topic, that is recognizing your child. And this has been one of my major area of work in 18 years of working with human beings. Children have been a bigger area of work, and let's know together tomorrow that how we can actually and truly recognize our child and the seed that he or she is, by being not by being the parent. So see you tomorrow at 9. And I think tomorrow I was anyways going to end the book read, but I'm enjoying this so much that I think next week also I would like to, you know, read few chapters from this book. And if you know, if anything about this conversation, about this video you've liked, or you know, you have any question, do leave a comment, or you can PM me on the Facebook or Insta, and let's connect on some level. Thank you so much. Take care and see you tomorrow.